Hello, my name is Taylor. I'm a financial coach, and I want to talk to you guys about the reporting feature inside Monarch Money. I really slept on this report feature when it first came out, and I never touched it. I was like, hey, it looks the same as cash flow. I don't really care. But then someone that's watching these videos, Daniel and his wife, showed me how they're using the reports feature, and they're using it to filter out their sinking funds from the rest of their budget so they can see where their actual expenses are, minus those one-off expenses like travel or the holidays and stuff like that. And so since then, I've completely converted. I use it every day. I've actually changed the way I do my categories groups, and I actually use tags now. Never used tags before, but now I do because of the reporting feature in Monarch Money. And it's something that a lot of people are sleeping on. They're not really paying attention to this. And I know that because I do these hour-long consultations where people can schedule my time to just sit and chat, and we talk about Monarch Money and we talk about best practices, and I help them set up their budgeting app. And a lot of people are not bothering with the reports feature. And I want to show you why that's a mistake because it's so awesome. So let's dive into it. First off, it's the reports section right here. It is still in beta, and you can tell it's still in beta. There's some things that happen. They'll sometimes just crash altogether, but it's still worth it. They're fixing it. I've been noticing the changes every day. I swear it's getting better. So bear with me there. But the thing that's nice is that you have several different views to see the reports. So you have cash flow, spending, just expenses, income, and then this sand key. If you're using this and you're getting value out of this, please tell me why and how. I don't use this. I don't really get this at all. I don't see a lot of value in it. So if you're using it, let me know. I want to see how you're using it and what you like about it. But what you can see here is you can filter out expenses by time period, whatever time period you want, super customizable, or just pick some time periods that make sense for you, and see where you're spending as far as categories or by group. If you have not edited your groups by now, you absolutely should. You just need to go into your settings, go into categories, and change your groups. Change how these are being phrased, what the titles are, what categories belong in which groups. You can drag and drop to wherever you want. You definitely want to change this so that when you do those reports and you're seeing how much did I spend on these areas, they actually mean something to you. If you don't know what's in financial, then you need to make some changes, rename it, move the categories out so this actually means something to you. The other thing that you can do that I really just love so much is filtering out. You can filter out by category. So if you just want to see what you spent on your bills, you can do that. You can see how it's changed over time. If you've picked maybe this entire year, you can see how each month's spending has been by month. You can do total amount, you can do it by category or by group. Again, it's so flexible. So some use cases here. You can filter out to see only your personal expenses and ignore your business expenses or your reimbursements. Maybe you're constantly getting reimbursed from work, and so you're tired of looking at your cash flow when it just purely says income and expenses. There's no other way to filter. Well, I guess you can now. This might be new, actually. No, not really. You can filter by tags or accounts. You can't filter by category in the cash flow section. And so if you're tired of saying hey, why are my expenses so high? Well, it's because I have a whole bunch of reimbursements. Well, that's where the reports comes in, is you can just unclick all the reimbursements. You can click everything else except your reimbursements and you'd be set. You can also filter out, like I was talking about earlier, your sinking funds. If you don't want to see what you spent on maybe a big home improvement purchase, maybe you spent $5,000 on getting some floor fix, and you don't really want to see what your cash flow looks like this month without that. You can just unclick home improvement and just see where you were at this month minus the home improvement expenses you have. You can do this in again, spending or income. And that's why it's really important to make sure your categories are correct and meaningful. The other thing that you can do that I've been using a lot more with my clients is tags. So tags are amazing, and I really highly suggest using them, especially because the categories we want to stay somewhat broad. We do not want to create categories for one vacation that you're going on this year and never again. So let's say you're going to Los Angeles. You're going to Los Angeles this month. You are not ever going to create a category in your budget for Los Angeles. You're going to create a category for travel. but you can use tags to give more detail to those categories. So you can, in your tag section here, I've created some tags for like, I want to see my Easter and Christmas, or I want to see what I did on this cruise. If you're constantly going on, let's say you're going on a cruise every year, you can either make a cruise of 2025, cruise of 2024, all that stuff. But I prefer to just do one tag, because what I can do in the report section is if I wanted to see what I spent on the cruise, I can easily do that. So I'm going to clear all, and I'm just going to go on the cruise. I'm going to press apply, and I'm just going to go to spending. And now I can see everything I've spent for the cruise, and I can see when I spent it. I booked the cruise in January. I went on the cruise in March, and I can see what I actually spent on just, the travel expenses. So like the hotel, airplane, all that stuff, versus like maybe my food or entertainment. You can keep those categories very pure and still label, like if you went grocery shopping, while you're there, you can still label as grocery shopping. But if you use tags, you know that it was still a part of this trip. And so you can still get very meaningful data in your reports, but also not throw off your like food and grocery budget too much, because you're still trying to stay within those lines, maybe if you're going on a trip. Or you can always just categorize everything inside travel and vacation. That's really a philosophical difference of what makes sense for you as you're looking back at how much you spent on travel. If it would mean more to you to just see travel costs versus all travel, like food, tickets, expenses while you're there, parking, Ubers, all of that stuff. It's totally up to you how much you want to do. But the fact that you can use tags and categories hopefully opens up more possibilities on how you can better track and plan for upcoming trips. So this is really useful if you are doing a regular trip. Maybe you go see family every holiday season. You can see how much you're spending around that time period related to just Christmas gifts versus the traveling expenses that go with it. And then, when you're not traveling this year, you're going to know how much you're going to end up saving because you've been using tags and categories really well inside of Monarch Money. So I hope that's helpful. Oh, one more thing I did want to show you, another use case, is just filtering out by your accounts. So if you are, for example, trying to pay off your credit card, you're carrying a balance, and you're listening to Taylor's advice to stop using the card until you have it paid off, you might want to use this filter section to just see what is actually going on the card right now and maybe stop it. So if you have a subscription that's going on the cards right now, it's letting you know and reminding you, hey, we need to get these off so you can keep working and making progress on paying off your credit card. If you pay it off in full every month, you can ignore all of that. Just keep using your card the way you are. But if you're trying to pay off that balance, we want to stop using the card. And all you should see when you filter for your credit card are the interest charge, if there's any, and then the payments. That's what we want to see there. So that way you can get clear, consistent progress. And then you can also filter by merchant, like if you're just trying to see like, hey, where are all my Apple charges and why are they all so many? You can do that as well. You can do it by amount. You can also see what's reviewed, not reviewed, if it has, if you've attached something to it, splits, notes, everything here you can filter out to see where your expenses are. So I hope this gives you some ideas on how to better organize your tags and categories and groups. Again, really, you're trying to ask yourself at the end of the year, what do I want to see? What info do I want to know? Or as you're going about day-to-day life and you're trying to make financial decisions and you'd be like, gosh, it would really help if I knew how much we spent last year on this. That's indicating to you that you need to make sure you have a category for it or a tag for it. For example, I really like to see how much we spend on protein drinks or supplements or vitamins, like those kinds of things, because they kind of just get lumped up into groceries. And so I like to see how much we're actually spending on those items because they are so, they're kind of bigger expenses, but they also happen like once a quarter. And so I use tags for that. So even though it's because I'm not going to try to filter out in groceries, otherwise I'd have to split my Costco trips really specifically, and which you can totally do that too. But I also just use tags for it. So which you kind of have to do, split the transaction if it's all in groceries anyway to use tags as well. So it's kind of up to you. Again, it's all variable. But one thing I would tell you is that with the transactions, if you're noticing that every single thing has a tag, it might be indicating to you that you need to make better categories or groups. Tags should not be used like categories. You should not have a tag for every single kind of expense. They should be used sparingly so that you can not make a whole mess. You can go way overboard with tags and they will lose meaning and value when you pull these reports, especially if you're tagging almost everything the exact same thing. So the difference between like needs and wants, or one person's expenses in the household versus another. Maybe it's time to create a group for that kind of stuff, like separate your categories by group of needs and wants, or partner one's expenses versus partner two expenses. That way you don't have a tag on every single transaction. It can get really hard to manage and again, not as valuable. So let me know how you're using tags, categories, setting up your Monarch, because it is so customizable and you can really make it anything you want. And so it's fun to see what you guys are doing, how you've been using this awesome budgeting app. I love to see it. So thank you so much. Please like this video, subscribe, leave comments letting me know what else you want to see in this channel with Monarch Money or just in personal finance altogether. I'd love to help you out. So thank you so much.